So if we need all of the trig functions at 360 degrees, we could draw a picture. 360 means you go all the way around the circle, so you're just somewhere on this line. This is one of those scenarios I talked about yesterday where it is not an option to draw a triangle, so we have to use the x, y, and r definition. So we're on the positive x-axis. We just need a point on that axis. Easiest point would probably be when x is just a positive 1, and since you're on the axis, your y value has to be 0. So then we can get r, the square root of x squared plus y squared. So you get the square root of 1, which is just 1. Then we can do our 6 functions. So sine of theta, we know the definition of sine is y divided by r. So 0 divided by 1 is 0. Cosine is, let's do secant. Cosecant first. So cosecant is a reciprocal of sine. So 1 over 0. We can't divide by 0, so we call that undefined. Cosine, definition from yesterday, x over r. So the x value of this point is 1. My y value is 1. So 1 divided by 1 is 1. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine, so 1 divided by 1, which is still 1. Tangent, definition of tangent, y divided by x. So 0 divided by 1 is 0, which makes cotangent its reciprocal 1 over 0, which is again undefined. So if I give you an angle measurement like this, at this point the only angles I will give you will be these quadrantal angles. We can use a picture to help us get the values. So let's extend that and talk about all the quadrantal angles. So this is my 0, 90, 180, 270, and we know we can keep going around and get coterminal angles by adding or subtracting 360. So we just talked about if you were at 360, which is the same as 0, we used our x is 1, our y is 0, and then r turns out to be 1.
Royalty needs some.
The next point. This is when my x is 0. We're on the positive y-axis, so I'll make my y 1. If you find your r, square root of 0 squared plus 1 squared, you again get the square root of 1, which is 1. Next point, at 180. Your x is negative, so I will just use a negative 1. Since we're on the axis, our y is 0, so negative 1, 0. So if we find the r, negative 1 squared plus 0 squared, we get the square root of 1, which is still 1. 270, that would be the point 0, negative 1. So we can do the square root of 0 squared plus negative 1 squared, which once again gives us 1. So these are nice points that we can use for any of these quadrantal angles. And in all of these instances, the r just turns out to be 1. So you could use this picture to quickly answer any of the ratios I might ask for. For instance, if I asked you to find the tangent of 270 degrees. You know tangent is y over x, so I look at this picture at 270. My y is negative 1, x is 0, so that is undefined. If I asked you to find the sine of 90 degrees, we know sine is y over r, so I look at 90, my y is 1, we know r is always 1, so 1 over 1 is 1, and we can quickly evaluate these things. So that is where we are stopping today. You have some problems from yesterday, and I am adding a few more to that. So we stopped with 48 yesterday, so we need to do 56 through 76 even, and 80 through 86 even.